collect collect proposals, and also to coordinate the reporting process. So I just have a few slides, both about this competition and a couple slides about EC Grant as well. Go ahead and share that. Let me rearrange my windows here. Okay. So a few things I want to emphasize is that you must submit a pre-proposal in order to submit a full proposal. Any full proposals that we receive that we did not receive an equivalent pre-proposal for will not be reviewed. The priorities, we're not going to talk about those here, but they are described in detail in the RFP, and we are looking for research proposals in this competition. So proposals need to have a well-defined hypothesis in your pre-proposal. Outreach is a separate activity that we will work with you at the end of the process if your project is selected. Lead investigators need to be from universities and colleges in Mississippi and Alabama, but your co-PIs can come from any other agency or from both Mississippi and Alabama. They can be from businesses, they can be from nonprofits. We can even have federal people participate as long as they're not receiving funds in the budget. The priorities in the RFP align with our strategic plan, where the RFP has a link to our strategic plan, so you can see that. But we work in these 4 focus areas: healthy coastal ecosystems, sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, resilient communities and economies, and environmental literacy and workforce development. We are looking to fund projects that run 1 to 2 years, and the maximum allowed we are accepting is $100,000 per year for this particular RFP. As I mentioned before, PIs can be from university in Mississippi and Alabama, but co-PIs can be from other colleges in or outside of Mississippi, and nonprofits and businesses and governments. We require a 50% match for this competition, and our fiscal officer, Devaney Sheremy, is the person that should address your budget-related questions. This is the pre-proposal review criteria. Rationale is 25%, merit is 50%, and user involvement, expected impacts, and application of results is 15%, and investigator qualifications is 10%. If you are new to the process of applying for proposals, and even if you're a veteran, I do recommend that you look through the review criteria and write your proposal to match the review criteria so that you get a better score. For the pre-proposals, each proposal will be assigned to 2 panelists, but this year is different. We are not holding a pre-proposal panel, but we will have the reviewers determine if they advise us to encourage or not encourage your full proposal from you. We will use that information to determine if we eventually encourage or not encourage a full proposal from you. But most importantly, with this process, we will receive review comments, and hopefully they will be useful to you because we will send them to you, and hopefully they will help you put your full proposal together. If you are not encouraged, it does not mean that you are not allowed to submit a full proposal. The full proposals will be sent out for review to your peer reviews, 1 to 3. They will receive 1 to 3 peer reviews, but also will be reviewed by 2 panelists as well. So you should receive somewhere between 3 and 5 reviews. The panel will meet for the full proposals, and they will discuss each proposal and provide comments. Then the technical review panel, after they meet, will bin each proposal into fundable and not fundable. The proposals that are determined to be fundable will be sent to our advisory council for review, for a relevancy review. The advisory council will only see the abstract and the title of your proposal, so they will not see your names or your institution. And we will use this information, the advisory council reviews and the technical reviews and the external reviews to decide on your funding. And oh yes, review criteria for the full proposals are different than the pre-proposals. So be sure when you start your full proposal to go ahead and look at those. Pre-proposals this year will not need a signature. The cover page in EC Grant this year is just a form that you will fill out. And it just asks for the title of the proposal, the PI, the co-PI, and your budget numbers. There's also a narrative form, which is just like that. You will fill in some fields just as they are described in the RFP. And you will need to go into EC Grant and download your budget forms and fill them out and then upload them back into EC Grant on the portal. And also your CVs you will need to upload individually. Let's see. I mentioned that support letters are not needed at the pre-proposal stage, but we will need them at the full proposal stage. So I included this slide here just to explain a little bit of the difference between what a support letter is and a commitment letter is. Letters of support are from the end users of your research. They will talk about how your research will help them somehow in their work or how they're interested in your results. Whereas a commitment letter is something that comes from your university that supports the project as far as the budget and the match are concerned. These are the dates of the competition. Pre-proposals are due February 17th, and the proposal portal will close at 5 o'clock. So you will not be able to make changes after that deadline. Full proposals will be due May 31st, and we will have your decisions by August 18th. We tend to stick to this schedule pretty closely unless there's an outstanding reason that we don't, that you will be notified by something by August 18th. If you've applied to us before, you will notice that the deadlines are a little bit moved up, and that is because our deadline to the National Sea Grant Office has been moved up. So I'm going to just have a couple slides about EC Grant. We use this online system to manage our proposals and reviews and reporting. You will need to go into EC Grant and register for the system. And if you have any trouble whatsoever, just let me know. I can register for you, and you'll just be receiving an email that says, here is your code to log in, and you can just click on that and you'll be set up. But you do need to go ahead and fill in your information once you are logged in. There will be forms that you fill in, and there will be places where you can upload your documents that we request. There is a full instructional video on how to submit a pre-proposal on our webpage. So anything that I miss here, feel free to go and look at that. Here is the registration page. What it looks like is very simple. I know that it says that there's like 5 tabs, but it's really pretty easy. All they need is your name and your email address, your affiliation. And it's just a couple of steps, just a couple of quick things to do. Also, there is a way, once you're registered and have an account with EC Grant, you don't necessarily need a password to log in after that. There is an option to log in without a password, and they will send you a code to your phone or your email. If your email and phone numbers are correct in the system, you'll be able to log in that way. So you need to complete your profile. That way all those things are in there. And I want to point out that the PI can, oops, excuse me. Where'd it go? There we go. The PI can assign delegates or collaborators to work on a proposal. And that's pretty easy to do. The instructions are in that in that video that is posted on our website. And those types of people will need to have their account as well already in the system, and then you can assign them to the proposal. And if there's any problems with assigning delegates or collaborators to your proposal, just let me know. It is very easy for me to set them up for you. When you log in, you will see we run multiple competitions at the same time, so you need to make sure you are applying to the appropriate competition. For this one, you need to look for the MASSC 2024-2025 RFP. Right now, I have another one that's open, and there will possibly be one more opening soon. So the other one right now is only open to internal sea grant, so you do not have the option to apply for that. But you will see this other one, and you can just hit add proposal. Then a pop-up will ask you to add your title. And once you enter that into the system, it automatically opens the first page of the portal, and you can start filling out the cover form and your narrative forms. And this is what that page looks like, and you navigate on the left. And that is all. So, and these are our phone numbers and email addresses if you have any questions that you want to ask us after this call.
Thank you, Loretta. Do you mind stop sharing? And
yes, let me get there.
Open it up for questions.
I'm getting there here.
Hi, do you have preference on the PI background, somebody that has already worked with the Sea Grant? Would that be one of the background that you're looking for?
No, ma'am. Any other questions? You can raise your hand. I don't think we have a overwhelming number of people who want to ask a question, but we'll certainly would love to try to answer any that you might have. Adam, see your hand up. Thank you.
Hi, I was just curious. One of my potential collaborators asked if we could submit, if a single PI could submit multiple proposals, like work on several different proposals, or if they can only just work on one at a time.
That's a great question, Adam. PI, you can work on as many, you can be a co-PI on as many as you want, and a PI can submit as many as they want as well. We don't have a cap on those.
Let me add to that. You will not need a separate UC Grant account, so all your proposals will show up on the one UC Grant account.
I'm going to have a hard time. How do you?
Yeah, Chandana Mitra. So my question was, so if you write a proposal, does it have to include both Alabama and Mississippi, or it can be just either Mississippi or Alabama?
It's going to be reviewed. It's going to get better reviews if it's a bi-state proposal that addresses bi-state issue.
Right. And the second question I have is, and it's probably there in the RFP, but outreach component is not to be written in the proposal. It has to be something as an after or a product later on, which will be dealt with, or do we have to have a component of outreach there in the proposal?
Have to have an outreach plan. No, you should have an idea. You know, I think partners and end users, you should have a really good handle on who those are. But as far as an outreach plan, that will be done by projects that are approved for funding. And that is its own process. There will be an outreach plan that will be developed for those 5 or 6 proposals that are funded. And then at the end of that 2-year period, there may be more outreach that's done through separate funding if there's a really good impact that comes from that project.
Okay, Thank you.
Anthony?
Yes, I have two questions. Is it prudent for the PIs to reach out to a program director there at Sea Grant to talk about the idea in our for our pre-proposal, to get an idea of if it's, you know, fundable, or if the idea fits within the scope of the RFP?
Well, you should be able to look at those priorities and have a pretty good idea of if it fits one of those priorities. It may not fit exactly. Like I
Okay.
said at the very beginning.
Okay.
I choose not to tell people if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but certainly if you struggle with, hey, I have this idea, does it fit these priorities? We'll certainly be happy to talk to you about it, but it should be pretty clear. You know, there is some latitude within some of those priorities. But yes.
Okay. All right. And my second question, do we have access to any of the final reports from some of the previously funded projects, so we can just kind of get an idea of the breadth of the scope of what's been funded before, so to avoid any duplication?
Well, that would come about, duplication would come from just a good literature review. But we certainly have project summaries of all the projects that we have, but that wouldn't replace a good literature review to make sure to see what what others are doing, if it's something that you haven't worked in before.
Okay, and those project summaries, I'm assuming, are on the website?
Melissa Snyder's our communications coordinator. It's probably, I don't know if we have every project summary. We have annual reports that has summaries in it. Are you asking for just like the results of the projects, or we don't post proposals? If that's what they're asking.
No, more the final report. You know, I don't know if that's made public or not. So we just, you know, if I wanted to get a breath of what's been funded in the past.
Yeah, take a look at our website if you have it. I think there's, and Melissa, you can jump in anytime if you have a.
If you can't find what you're looking for on our website, you are welcome to contact me or Melissa, and we can look things up for you.
All right, thank you.
And I'll send a link to in the chat to our research project, past and current. And you can see that'll basically show you the basic information about it, not so much the results, but it will show you what the research was about. Some of them do have results and others do.
Anthony, you have your hand still up. Do you have other questions?
No, I don't. I got to figure out how to take my hand down. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. I had a problem with that. Shannon?
Hi, I also have a similar question, I think, to Anthony. I was interested, and I don't know if you guys can fully answer this question like right now, but I was interested in potentially doing some work with non-native or invasive species, and I was wondering if that could potentially fall under healthy coastal ecosystems.
Did you see a priority about non-native species under healthy?
I did not, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's probably your answer.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mhm. All right, other questions?
Feel free to use the chat box too.
The criteria for the rating of the proposal that right now is the pre-application. I hear that there's a merit factor in it, but would the amount of money that we are asking be also a factor? So if it can be like good merit but less expensive, would that change the approach, or is really merit-based and not cost-based?
Oh, absolutely. There's a cost of it. Budgets factor into one of the criteria, the evaluation criteria, and reviewers. There's always reviewers that really focus in on budgets when they review them. So It absolutely is. If they're, I can't think of one example in the past where someone didn't raise a question that this is what they're asking is too much for this one budget line, or on the other side of that coin, they're saying they can't do that for this budget amount. But yes, as Loretta mentioned, that it's 1 or 2 year proposals, would be 1 or 2 year projects, and projects up to $100,000. We certainly welcome 1 year proposals, and we certainly welcome proposals that don't request 100,000 per year.
Thank you.
I'm sure you know you're welcome to contact us at any point as you have questions once you get into this. We just wanted to have an opportunity to give you a little bit of background about the RFP and the EC grant as much as anything else. We're just going to assume no one's been on EC grant, so you may or may not have problems setting up an account and then logging in. If you do, reach out to Loretta. If you want to talk about your priorities offline, you have my number as well as email. Be happy to do that. Any questions about budget questions, Debney Sheremy can certainly answer that as well. And from an outreach standpoint, even though there's no formal outreach plan at the pre-proposal or full proposal stage, if you have just questions about the constituents or the end users who might use your research, Steve Sempier would be really welcome to ask me as well, but Steve Sempier would also be very good contact for you. I think all 4 of us are listed in the RFP.
I'm pretty fast about responding to EC grant questions, so don't hesitate.
All right. I'm going to take the silence as everyone's good for right now. Don't be afraid to reach out to us as you have questions. All right, folks, I think I'm going to end the meeting. Again, thank you for joining, and reach out to us as you have questions. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks.